Cut the shit. We're here. We're live. Coast to Coast Sports. We're back, baby. You know why we're so serious? John, why are you serious?
You guys are kind of matching.
We're kind of matching. You know why?
We are matching. I'm serious. John, are you fucking serious?
I'm fucking serious. You want
Ryan,
to know
are
why?
you fucking serious?
I think so.
Why are you serious, John? Tell the people.
We only have 10 more days until college football.
We only have 10 more fucking days for college football.
10 more days until college football?
10 more days until college football. John, 9 plus 1. That equals the amount of days till college football.
Correct.
What's that math in case some of our people are illiterate?
That would be 10.
10 days. I'm talking 10 days. I'm talking uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, 10 days.
For our Espanol listeners.
For Espanol listeners. Until college football. And on that note, let's get right into it. Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Van Tilburg. To the left of me, as always, John Witt. And behind the scenes, doing the thing, being the thing, Ryan Smith. John, do you have anything to say to people before we get started?
Yeah, I watched the Monte Teo documentary today. Great documentary.
Great doc.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a good one.
It
makes you feel bad for making fun of them 10 years ago.
But hey, that's what these docs are for. That's
Yeah.
what they're for. They're here to enlighten us. Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we get started?
Like Demon Slayer.
You like Demon Slayer?
Shout out Demon Slayer.
Shout out Demon Slayer. He's one of our subscribers. And I guess I'll do the quote. If I meet you and if I beat you to paradise, I'll save you a seat.
All right.
Boom. I know it's kind of sad, little sad one, but if I die first and I meet you at paradise, I'll save you a seat, John.
Appreciate it.
I'll meet you there.
I hope there's college football there.
There's going to be college football because I don't know if we've emphasized enough, John. You know what's happening in 10 days?
Fucking college. Nebraska and Northwestern are going to be meeting in Dublin, Ireland for some college football.
College football will be back in 10 days. I cannot emphasize this enough. I wish I could sign language. Go Huskers. Go Huskers. Listen, guys. The AP poll was released.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean anything to have the AP poll released? Doesn't mean shit.
No.
Doesn't mean shit. Are they going to get this 100% right? No way.
They know that, though.
They know that. They know that going in. But it does give us a look into, man, it's really here. I feel like when the first AP poll comes out and the first coaches poll, like when you start hearing those grumblings, when you see those on Twitter and you see it break news, you're like, college football is officially back. It's just like when the preseason, that first kickoff of a preseason game, you're like, damn, NFL season is back. So I feel like with this one, we're going to give you the list as it goes. We'll go top 5 first. Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame in that order. Then 6 through 10 is A&M, Utes in Utah. 8 is Michigan. Number 9 is Oklahoma. Number 10 is Baylor. Then 11 through 15, you got Oregon, Oklahoma State, NC State, USC, Michigan State, and then 16 through 20 is the U and Miami University. 17 is Pitt, 18 is the Badgers of Wisconsin, 19 is the Razorbacks of Arkansas, 20 is Kentucky, and then rounding out the top 25, you have 21 through 25 being Ole Miss, Wake Forest at 22, Bearcats of Cincinnati at 23, 24 is the Cougars of Zach Wilson in Houston, and number 25 rounding it out is BYU. What's yours, the Yeomans?
They're the Cougars.
That's
yeah.
should have been my play there.
You flipped those. Zach Wilson went to BYU.
I know he went to Houston. I knew he went to BYU, but I was making the Cougar reference because it's the Houston Cougars.
Yeah.
I thought BYU was the Yeomans.
No, they're also the Cougars.
Who also went to BYU?
Who?
Dan Smith.
BYU. Shout out Hingle McCringleberry. He went to Ohio State.
No,
Or was that Javarson Lamar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yes, old Javarson.
Known all-pro.
All-pro tackle, all wide receiver. So that's your top 25, right? Let's talk about them. Let's just talk about the first thing on the docket. Is there anybody here that surprises you that is either too high, too low, in the middle, or do you think they got this kind of overall pretty solid?
I'm going to first start out by saying this was kind of a hard year to get a preseason poll going just because of how much transferring went on during this offseason. So I'm not going to try to knock them too much. One of the main surprises for me was Clemson being all the way at 4. I know they, still got Dabo. DJ Ungalele is supposed to be
It.
but
Ungo ukulele.
but you lose your defensive coordinator, who's kind of made Clemson into what it is in a way.
He's definitely a part of it.
Now I know the Clemson defense is supposed to be really good this year, even despite his departure, Brent Venables. But I
He
think
went
for
to,
Oklahoma, he's their head coach now. So we'll see how Clemson does. I just think number 4 is kind of high for them to start out.
Okay. Any other people that are too low?
Too low. I think BYU is too low. I'm high on the Cougars this year. They play a decent schedule. I think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think they're a better team than Arkansas. I think they're better than a lot of the teams above them. Also, another overrated team would be the Pitt Panthers. The reason they were so good last year was because of Kenny Pickett and that wide receiver that transferred to USC. I forget his name right now. But the departure of those two, Pitt's going to be taking a step back this year. Number 17 is a little high for them. For me.
And then who do you think they got just right?
Just right. I think the top 3. I mean, that is the top 3. I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, a lot of these teams have a lot of new faces. There's a lot of uncertainty on this list right now. So I'm just going to take the cop out and say the top 3, because the top 3 are probably going to be the top 3 towards the end.
Mm-hmm. So I'll go first with my overrated one, and I think that might be. I love your Clemson pick. I definitely think that's too high. I think Notre Dame is godforsakenly too high. Mm-hmm. It's honestly favoring Ohio State. Obviously, anything can happen, and maybe Notre Dame wins, but I think Ohio State's going to dog walk Notre Dame by 50, so that's going to look good for Ohio State, at the end of the year, because Notre Dame will definitely still finish in the top 25, and when they beat them, they were a 5 seed, so that helps. But I think one of my biggest overrated plays is Oklahoma. They lost both of their quarterbacks. Williams went to USC, Spencer went to South Carolina, and you also have a defensive-minded coach now, head coach, and Brent Venables. Yeah, I was wanting to say Vrabel, but I was like, that's not right.
Go Titans.
Go Titans. No, fuck the Titans. They're in the AFC South. Go Colts. So I think that they're really overrated. I think top 10 is an aggressive put. They were not very good last year, and they had 2 of the best rated quarterbacks in college football, supposedly. And they were still not very good. I don't even think they made the Big 12 title game, did they?
They just missed. I mean, they were still
Wasn't it
decent.
Baylor and Oklahoma State?
Yeah, it was. Okay. And it came down to that goal line stand.
Yeah, the goal line stand. Well, it was awesome. It was a great game.
Great game. I need to rewatch that when I get home.
So I think they're really overrated. A person that I think that is a little too low. Honestly, this might just be state cooking and home cooking just in general. I think Cincinnati's too low. I know they lost Sauce, and I know they lost Desmond Ritter, but they're still a very, very good team. They have the experience. Fickle knows what the fuck he's doing. Their conference isn't something that's like the greatest, so they're still going to win a lot of games, and they're still going to be in contention. I'm not saying put them top 10. I'm saying they should definitely be. I think that they're way better than Pitt. I think they're better than Miami. I think they're better than Arkansas. I think they're just better than some of the teams that are in front of them. So that's my biggest reason I think they should be higher. And then another team that should be a little bit higher, I think, is Michigan State. I think Mel Tucker is doing a really good job with Michigan State, and they have a lot of good, talented people there. I think Michigan State should have cracked the top 10. The fact that they didn't kind of surprises me. That's all.
The only team above Michigan State I would say they're better than, in my eyes, is Oklahoma. I think Michigan State, they have a hard schedule coming up. Their schedule plays no favors to them this year. And we'll see, I believe, Michigan State and Miami play each other. So that'll be an interesting game.
Yeah.
I actually kind of disagree with Cincinnati, too. I think I can see them losing 3 regular season games this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, good teams. I mean, Cincinnati's a good team. It's a good program, but it's not great. Mm-hmm. These great programs are going to reload at positions that they lost in the defensive side and losing their quarterback. And I think the American actually will have some sleeper teams this year. I think Houston's going to be good this year. SMU might pop them. Mm-hmm. I can see them losing 3 games in the regular season.
Yeah, and obviously anything can happen. That is the beauty of college sports and college football. But I'm still big on them. I think that, they're not going to just put a freshman in that quarterback. They've got a guy that Desmond's been able to coach for 4 years, been able to mentor. And Fickle, like I said, knows what he's doing. So I'm big on UC. I think that they'll be good. And who knows?
Open against the Razorbacks.
Yeah,
that'll be a tough game too.
6 months from now, I could be eating my words, but I hope not. I'm rooting for them. But those are my two teams, and the team that I think they got just right. I'm going to pick two. I think one is Michigan. I think Michigan's a great team. They got perfectly right. Not necessarily. If anything, I'd argue that they're a little too low by I think maybe in the 6th spot. Defending Big Ten champs. Put a beating on Ohio State. Put a beating on Iowa for sure. And then got the beat put on them by the best team in college football, which that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But the reason that I think they got them just right, or maybe one notch or two notches too low, is obviously you lose a very, very key defensive piece, one of the best defensive players in all of football last year. You had a lot of uncertainties with, Jim potentially going to the NFL, and, maybe he wasn't even going to the NFL the whole time. I don't know. It's a very weird situation. I don't know why he went to the interviews or maybe even did the interviews and just decided to come back. I believe they lost their D coordinator. I think he may have, or
they lost Josh Gaddis to Miami.
Yeah,
I don't know if they lost their D coordinator.
So
I think he's still there.
Now you also have kind of like not necessarily QB battle. I think McNamara is definitely going to take over, or McCarthy.
McCarthy's the
younger guy, so I think he's going to take over for sure. So they still have a lot of weapons and they still have a lot of good teams. So, but I think that they may not be the team that they were last year. Defensively, really sound on the ball, and offensively run it down your throat. We'll see how that works out for them this year, and I think they got them kind of just right. And another team that I think they got really well is USC. They didn't put USC way too high. I thought for sure USC was going to crack the top 10. They got a new coach. They got a new quarterback, which obviously not really a new quarterback, but the school got a new quarterback. That Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams were playing together at USC the previous year. But they got a fuck ton of people from the transfer portal. So trying to put all those guys together in less than a year, put an offense together, and put a scheme together, I think is going to be really hard. But I think Lincoln Riley is a solid college coach. I think he's very good at what he does, and I think he's going to be able to turn USC around really quickly. I don't think they should have been a top 10 team, let alone anything above 5. So I think they got them just right. Put them in the middle of the pack. We'll see where they fluctuate. And then a team that I think that they didn't also kind of snubbed here is Iowa. Won their division last year in the Big Ten, was in the Big Ten title game, but just to completely boot them out of the top 25 was kind of a surprise for me. And the fact that the ACC got 5 teams in the top 25 kind of surprised me as well, because there hasn't been a good ACC team other than Clemson in a while. And Clemson was dog shit last year. Yeah, they weren't even that good. It was just Lamar Jackson was good. So outside of Clemson, Clemson was dog shit last year. I don't know why they got so many nods that they did. Obviously, the transfer portal does help, and that's going to make a lot of things. Miami could either be really fucking good, or they could be Miami University that they've been for the past decade. So that's just kind of my little take on it, John. I don't know if you have anything to add to that or take away from that.
No, I thought you hit the. I thought both of your Michigan USC picks were correct. I think Michigan belongs in that 8 to 12 range. Mm-hmm. Schedule's very favorable for them. They'll have time to, whatever uncertainties they will have, they'll have time to work it out. And I think, especially looking around them, Oklahoma, Baylor, even Oregon and Oklahoma State have more uncertainty than them. Mm-hmm. So having them above them, I have no problems with. USC, I think, could be a little higher, but I think, with the uncertainty again, the transfer portal, having them there is fine. What was the other point you made?
I think another also, and maybe, you give us, I feel like South Carolina shouldn't be in the top 25, but they'll be interesting just because they got Spencer Rattler. Maybe he's revolutionized his game. Maybe he's figured something out. Maybe he has a better coach. I don't know. It's just, I feel like those are one of those teams you want to put in the top 25 just so they're a talking point. And, obviously Michigan finished outside the top 25 and didn't even get in the top 25 the first time and finished in the Final Four. Who knows? South Carolina might be that same boat this year. I don't see it, but it's just one of those things where I figured they might get it just because they're making some moves. They got a top talented quarterback out of the class, so we'll see about them.
Yeah, I think the SEC East will be probably this. There's 2 divisions that I think will be really fun to watch this year. I think the SEC East will be fun because I think Georgia's probably going to finish first. Yeah. Vanderbilt's probably going to finish last. But that 2 through 6 spot can finish in any order, I think. And USC is one of them, or South Carolina. So we'll see how they finish. And then I think the Big Ten West will be pretty interesting too. I can see about 5 teams winning that division. Yeah. So we'll see how that finishes out. I think those will be the 2 most parity divisions we'll see this year.
And before we move on to the next talking point of the poll, I do agree with your just right pick is with the 1 through 3. I don't necessarily think these might be the best 3 teams all around right now. Ohio State has a ton of questions on defense with a new defensive coordinator, and if they've actually got linebackers this year, I don't know. Alabama losing their best wide receiver, and also who's going to step up, be that guy for Bryce? Is he going to have another career year? Obviously, nobody's won back-to-back Heismans since Archie has, and nobody's really kind of come close. Lamar Jackson had better numbers than he did when he won the Heisman, but it's not the same story anymore. So we'll see how his bounce back year, if he's got a hangover year. They got kind of boat raced by Georgia. So maybe that has some fuel to the fire. And then Georgia, they're going to have a hangover season, right? Is Kirby actually going to prove that he's a good coach, didn't have just really good, talented players around him and knew how to manage them? And actually, I feel like Georgia is kind of like Michigan-esque, right? Every couple of years, you have a team where you got a bunch of guys that are staying around for 4 years, going to have that veteran team. So when they go play their Ohio States, their Alabamas, they go to the playoffs, they can actually show up and show out and perform because they have all that experience. Where Ohio State and Alabama are more of like, all right, you left, reload, new guy here. Oh, you left, reload, new guy here. Stuff like that. So Nick Saban said in the in one of his press conferences early that it was rebuild year last year, which a lot of people gave him shit for it, but I don't see how you would argue it's not a rebuild year. He played a first-time starting college quarterback. He had one decent receiver who came from Ohio State. That was the only valuable, and they played a ton of games really close. I wouldn't say that it was anywhere close to one of his best teams that he ever had, or even in a remote atmosphere, because the year before he won a national championship with Mac Jones and arguably the best offensive team ever, from start to finish with ratings and touchdowns and all that jazz. So I could see why that. I personally don't disagree with the fact that it was a rebuilding year. It's not one of those ones where it's like, oh, we're losing everybody. Like, I get that maybe, but it's definitely not Mac Jones. It's not your wide receiver core that you had. It's not the DNs you had. It's not the linemen you had the year before when you won the national title. So, I don't know. I feel like those top 3 have some questions about them, but I think like you said it best, that these 3 will probably be in the top 3, top 5, for sure top 5 as the season progresses and as we come down to, the college selection Sunday or Saturday, however they do it. Mm-hmm. But it'll be good. I think the Big Ten will be pretty good this year, and I think the SEC will still be good as is. Any surprise conference you think is gonna have a dark horse in this race? Or non-conference. Obviously, Notre Dame's a non-conference. They could make it. BYU, same thing.
Yeah. Looking here, I mean, I do think the ACC can have some sleeper teams. Look, at the end of the day, I think it's either going to be Ohio State or Alabama or Georgia at the end.
At the end.
I think if we're talking national championship, it's either Big Ten or ACC or SEC. I mean, ACC's got some teams. Big 12 will be fun to watch, but I don't think they have any real national championship contenders. I mean, yeah.
I think my biggest sleeper, believe it or not, is not in the ACC, and it's also not in the Big 12. I think Utah would be is a good sleeper team.
Yeah.
It's a good sleeper team that could finish in the top 4.
For sure.
If we're doing, I think Clemson will lose a couple games, and I don't think anybody else in the ACC will have strong enough schedule and consistent record. I think the SEC is going to beat up on themselves with A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, teams like that. They're just going to play each other and they're going to lose to each other. Somebody's got to lose at the end of the day, and I think Georgia and Alabama are definitely going to come out on top in their respective conferences or divisions. Yeah. And I think if I have to pick a team from the Pac-12, I think Utah could definitely be the sleeper team to make it and round it out to 4. Agreed. Does that mean Utah's one of the best 4 teams in the country? No, but the college football committee's never picked the best 4 teams in the country. Actually, they did it one year. Let me rephrase. They did it one year. It was the first year they ever did it. They chose Ohio State over TCU, and everybody dogged on the committee for choosing that, but Ohio State ended up winning the national championship in kind of convincing fashion in both games. So I would say they definitely did that, but since then, they haven't done it right.
Well, if they were doing I would say not even that year, because if they were doing the top 4 teams, I think TCU would belong in over Florida State. But Florida State was undefeated. Mm-hmm. You had to put them in.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely argue the cases for both, but definitely glad that they put Florida State in, because Boykin got popped for beating up his girlfriend or something, or something like a DUI charge or something. He couldn't play in their bowl game. I know that.
I know they absolutely destroyed Ole Miss. It was like 52-3.
It was just crazy. So
Ole Miss
you know, I don't necessarily think they've done a good job picking the 4 best teams until they start doing it again. I can see Utah getting in, whether the 4th best team or not. But we'll keep that going. And moving to the next talking point, in the last 16 seasons, 13 of the teams that finished and that started in the AP top 10 as a preseason finished 6-6 or worse. So losing record or just 500. Who will it be this year? Or nobody. So John? I'll throw it to you first.
My answer is nobody. I'm looking at this AP top 10. There really isn't a lot of teams I see. A lot of these teams have easy schedules too. Is the other thing too. So we're gonna have the big games for these teams this year will be even more. They'll be even more important this year. If I were to pick one, I'll pick Baylor. I think that I just see a little bit of a Big 12 hangover. I just don't trust them that much, but I think they'll finish above 6-6.
So you're saying nobody is your pick?
No, nobody is.
Nobody's going to finish 6-6 or worse
in the top 10. Yes.
I think out of my top 10, I think I have 2 teams that actually could finish 6-6 or worse, and I do agree with you. I think you're right. This top 10, I feel like is very excluding all injuries, of course. If Bryce Young goes out there, blows his knee out, and you have a true freshman playing, anything can happen. Or C.J. Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Smith and Jigba Jr. all were going out to Hyde Park and having a good time, and then a bus ran through the middle of it and killed all 3 of them. Something great, something absolutely, something happened. Not kill them, maybe they just hospital them. Something absolutely just insane happens. I could see that's different. But if I had to pick 2, if I had to pick somebody, I'm going to pick 2, actually. I'm picking Clemson, I'm picking Oklahoma. You lose your face of your defense. The guy that has the pullback coach, where everybody was like, "Oh, he's such a good intense defense coordinator. He's got a guy on the team that just pulled him back." Like, all right, we get it. How about just be responsible and stay behind the line? How about that? That's part of your job. You actually get paid to do that. So, Clemson and then Oklahoma as well. Oklahoma losing everybody, transferring a bunch of people because Lincoln left, and you also have a new head coach and your new schemes that you're trying to implement. I could just see both of those teams having issues that they're not ready to handle and also can't handle because, the ACC has been Clemson's wheelhouse for the past 6 or 7 years, excluding last year. They still have played Clemson very close quite a few times. When I think Deshaun was there, they lost like a quadruple overtime game against Lamar Jackson at Louisville. Or like Syracuse ended up like missing a field goal to win it or tie it or something like that. So they definitely could lose a bunch of games, and I could see it happening. Same thing with Oklahoma. So those are my 2 picks for that. But transitioning to arguably the juiciest part of our segment. Well, since we are technically a media outlet, I believe, John, that means we get our own media poll that we get a vote on.
Yeah, we get a poll, right?
We get a poll. Ryan, I think we get a poll, right? We're a media outlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
We get a poll.
Yeah.
So I think it is
ours is the only right one, right?
I think our poll best represents and reflects the viewers, the intelligent minds of John, myself, Ryan, and Will. His beautiful brains put together and created our own top 25 teams of college football. But before we get there, let's talk about our first sponsor. Thank you so much, Pete Abilities, for sponsoring Coast to Coast Sports. Let me tell you a little bit about them, John. Pete Abilities is a Macedonian-style eatery. You've got gyros, you've got chicken with any type of sauce you want on it, and pita breads, hence Pita Abilities. So it's kind of a fun play on words. You see what they did? They're punny. They like to do a little pun work. But it's Macedonian style. You got anything you want, Mediterranean, falafel, meats, anything you want on these meats. They've got all the sauces. And then they have their homemade Bella sauce, which is absolutely to die for. I've been trying to get a jar for years and sell it in stores. Hopefully that's coming for them because it is. I would put that shit on everything. I know personally, one of your favorite is the fry bowl with the Euro meat and the falafel. Euro meat and the Bella sauce with feta cheese and everything on top. I know that's one of your favorites. My personal favorite, tiki masala chicken
you can't go wrong with
pita.
that.
You can't with Bella sauce, banana peppers, and the fixins all on top of it.
All the fixins.
So make sure you check out Pete Abilities for us. Go to their website. They have food trucks scattered throughout the city every single day. Make sure you check them out on their website. They'll tell you where they're at for the day. Or if you want to go to brick and mortar, sit down, go for somewhere else. Check them in Crooked Cans Establishment in Old Hilliard, Ohio. They're one of the kiosks inside there. They've got a brick and mortar store, and they've got plenty of seating. And check out some of those other stores. That's why you're there. So check out Pete Abilities. Thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast. But because they sponsored it, it allows us to be a true media outlet, which allows us to give us our preseason poll. So, Ryan, can we get a drum roll of some sort? That's what? Come on, give me. I'll do the drum roll, David. Can they hear it?
I think maybe.
All right, I'll do a drum roll.
So number one.
Whoa! You gotta set it up. You gotta dress it. Now introducing the Coast to Coast preseason media poll.
I actually moved the camera.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Is John in camera shot still?
Yeah.
Or am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. So now introducing the Coast to Coast media outlet poll, preseason poll of the college football season,
Presented by Pete Abilities.
John, give him the top 25.
So coming in at number one, we're an unbiased poll. We ran from Columbus, Ohio. So Ohio State, naturally number one.
Unbiased.
Unbiased. Number two, coming in at number two, we have the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now you might be going, hey, why the Huskers? They play 2 games by the time our next poll come out. They'll have a chance to be 2-0.
Right.
By the time the week 2
Arguably Dakota's team to root for. Did you see what I did there? You see that? It's got a little play on words. We do a little play on words. They have the best NIL deal and the best NIL deal commercial. So that's why Nebraska is number 2 in our list as well.
And they could be 2-0 winning in 2 different countries.
Right. Who else can say that?
No one else can say that.
Maybe Northwestern, I guess.
Northwestern.
But that's not going to beat it.
But we have Nebraska number 2.
Okay.
Coming in at number 3, good old Rocky Top, we have the Tennessee Volunteers at number 3. Nothing else to say there. I think that's well deserved.
That speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. 1999 champions?
98.
National
Feels like 98.
championship. Feels like 98.
Number 4, Alabama. Old St. Nick, Crimson Tide.
You can't go wrong with Nick Saban.
Yep.
You just can't go wrong with him.
Number 5 will be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is exclusively because they play Ohio State. We need to make them look good for our next poll.
Yes. And it gives Ohio State the South Five team win, so I respect that as well. And also, we're Catholic.
Yes,
we gotta give the Catholics.
We're baptized.
I'm in the Catholic faith. This is not a Catholic podcast per se,
but this is a pro-Catholic podcast. We're pro-Catholic.
We're pro whatever religion you want to watch us on and how you support. But we are John and myself are Catholic, so we're giving the Catholics an edge here also at the number 5 spot, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Number 6, we got the Utes. Good team. I have money on them to win the conference.
That's another huge reason, and they're the only good team in the Pac-12, so I'm rooting for the Utes heavily.
Coming in at number 7, they're back.
We
Texas Longhorns.
We are also a pro Hook'em podcast. So number 7, Texas.
The AP poll might thought you weren't good enough. The Coast to Coast media poll think you are enough. Coming in at number 8, we have the Tigers of Clemson. Again, if they win the ACC, I win money. They're number 8. Coming in at number 9, the defending champs, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Keep them in the top 10.
You have to keep them top 10.
Defending champs makes sense.
Coming in at number 10 is the biggest cult in America, Texas A&M Fighting Aggies.
Gig 'em.
Put that thumb up. It's the biggest cult in America. Just trust me on that one. Coming in at number 11.
That's them, right?
Yeah, it's all of our horns
cool.
off.
Yes.
Coming in at number 11 is the Trojans of USC, Southern Cal.
Lincoln Riley.
Fight on.
New coach, so you respect it.
Coming in at number 12 is the Sooners of Oklahoma. I thought those two were appropriate to put next to each other.
I feel like they should be put next to each other because of the coaching debacle and the switcheroo. And also, Boomer Sooner, their softball team just won a national championship, damn it. They should be factored in that. So
that was factored in.
That was factored in.
Coming at number 13, Tuck coming. The Spartans of Michigan State.
What else is going to be a Trojan other than a Spartan? Can't tell you.
I don't know, maybe
Can't
a Crimson Tide.
Maybe a Crimson Tide.
Coming at number 14 is the Wolverines.
Right.
I felt like these two needed to be next to each other as well.
Hey, go blue. They're geographically located next to each other, so that also helps.
Yes. Coming at number 15 is the Baylor Bears. Defending Big 12 champs, the Baylor Bears. Sick 'em. Sick 'em. Number 16, the Mighty Ducks of Oregon.
Hey, who best uniforms, versatility. Versatility. Yeah. Not color scheme and all that jazz. But best uniform versatility in all of sports. Oregon Ducks. Go on.
Number 17 will be the Fighting Cougars of BYU.
Mm-hmm. And they're not only talking about the animal cougars. So
let me tell you, they got more than just...
They've got just more than those cougars, but go on.
And in case you kind of feel that wind blowing around, you feel that
I think a storm's brewing. I wouldn't call it a cyclone like the Iowa State Cyclones. No, I'd say it's a little more aggressive.
You would call it a Miami Hurricane.
I would call it
number
hurricane.
18.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to fuck with a hurricane? Not me.
Not me.
I'll
drive around that shit.
Right.
Coming in at number 19, we're going with the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Shout out Mike Gundy.
Not only shout out Mike Gundy, little story time. In NCAA, shout out NCAA football. It's coming back. It's coming back.
We're back.
My road to glory and my franchise modes, I wasn't good enough to be a Power 5 school running back. I'm not a Power 5 school like Ohio State, Michigan, or Alabama. I was good enough to be Oklahoma State. I led them to 4 straight national championships and 4 straight Heismans. So Oklahoma State always has a special place in my heart. We're Cowboy.
Go Pokes. Go Pokes.
We're Cowboy friendly over here.
Oh, I love the Pokes. Mm-hmm. But coming in at number 20, the Wolfpack of NC State.
Who's gonna fuck with the Wolfpack? There's like 17 of them. So I mean, and Darius Leonard went there. Mm-hmm. I love him. Also,
great defense. Probably the oldest team in college football right now.
Arguably one of the best mascots too.
Yeah.
Logo, I mean, like with the old, like the hat wearing wolf. So good.
The old sailor cap. Coming in at number 21, the Badgers of Wisconsin.
Hey, honestly, Badgers. I figured I wanted them to be a little higher, but that's okay. We discussed. We settled 21.
Yep,
that works.
We had to make room for some other teams like Nebraska and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Coming in at number 22, I believe their first appearance in the C2C media poll.
100%.
The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky.
Hey, look, I know they graduated and their guy went to the draft, but they're gonna reload like they always do. And if it's not Hilltop and it's not Hilltoppers, I don't want to be friends with you.
So fucking true.
Right. So go on, John.
Number 23. Some might say, "Oh, you're putting a Mountaineer in here. It's got to be West Virginia, right?"
No, that's where they're wrong.
No, John. That's where they're wrong. We're going.
I'm picking the bigger mountains.
The bigger mountains. The Appalachian Mountains. The Appalachian State Mountaineers.
Mountaineers. Listen, they have one of the greatest upsets in all of sports history.
Yep.
So why can't we put them in?
I mean, that's why they're number 23.
That's why they're 23. Well, you can't tell me, John. This list has been so good. I can't wait for 24.
So if I were to say we are, what would you respond to?
I would say Penn State, but I was like, no, they're soft and their color scheme sucks.
Correct.
So better color scheme with green in a small town of Huntington, West Virginia, a coal mine town of hard workers, blue collars, diners, great football movie made. Terrible tragedy happened.
Yeah, very bad tragedy.
Very bad tragedy. But we will never forget. So I think it would be in our best interest. You hit me with a "we are," and I'll answer 3 times for them.
Yeah.
So, John, whenever you're ready.
We are.
Marshall.
We are.
Marshall.
We are.
Marshall.
So
we are definitely pro.
All right.
We are Thundering Herd Pro podcast.
Shout out the Herd.
And shout out Brendan Knox.
Shout out All Conference USA.
Hey, MVP. MVP of an entire conference running back. Shout out Brendan Knox.
Number 24, the Marshall Thundering Herd. Now, we only have one more team to go.
And John, I was sitting here, I was spitballing. I was like, who should we put at 25? You know who I really liked?
Who do you
like? At 25? I was thinking, I think a really good team to have round us out, really speak to who we are as a podcast. I was thinking maybe we go old school. Maybe go like one of the original teams, like Army, like Navy, Air Force, and something like that. But I was like, no, that doesn't speak to us. I think we are both blue-collar working men.
Mm-hmm.
We would, if we lived in the middle of the United States and we had farmland and we had to wake up, go bale some hay.
Yeah.
Go feed the cattle. Go rustle up the goats. Whatever you got. Maybe look out for a tornado. I was like, let's think about the breadbasket. Let's think about those people in the middle states. And I was like, what school out of those middle states? It's not Texas Tech.
No.
It's not Nebraska because they're already number 2.
I mean, they're already number 2.
It's not Iowa.
No.
Who speaks to us, John, as a hard-nosed working football program, football town? Who are we rocking with?
So I was looking all around the Corn Belt of America.
Of course.
And I stopped at a little town in Lawrence, Kansas. And I decided, you know what? They won the basketball national championship. Why not football?
Why not football? Are we rocking?
We're rocking shock with the Jayhawks, number 25 in our C2C media poll.
Our first poll has just come out. You just heard it, 1 through 25.
Yep.
Ohio State leading this off, unbiased reasons, of course.
Unbiased reasons.
And 25, Kansas best represents us.
Also, other receiving votes, Army, Navy, Air Force, we love the troops.
We do love the troops. We support the troops. I think outside of that, I think this might be the greatest top 25 team poll ever.
I honestly don't see how anybody can argue with any of these. Like,
I think the only team you can argue is maybe Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
Oh, no.
That's the only team you could kind of argue. And the only reason I'm saying you argue that is because are they really on top of a hill?
Yeah, their campus is on top of the hill.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So if people don't know that, then they can argue it. But if you do know it now, which you're now educating me, then... And I believe they won the Bahama Bowl like not that long ago. Or something
that was against Central Michigan. That was a great bowl game.
It was a great bowl game. It was a shootout.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you can argue it from 1 through 25.
I don't think you can. Bowling Green, Kentucky, beautiful town as well.
Also gorgeous.
Gorgeous town.
Bluegrass.
Home of the Bluegrass. Mm-hmm. And they're probably the best team in Kentucky, if we're being honest.
If I'm being honest, which, John, I wouldn't lie. Why would I lie to the viewers?
You have no reason to.
I don't have any reason to lie to the viewers. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's our first Coast to Coast Sports AP media outlet preseason poll. And we can't wait to give you the next one when we have a game or two and we can readjust and recalibrate.
Some teams will have 2. Most teams will have 1, though.
Right.
This will come out every, let's say, Wednesday. We'll have it out every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. Works for me.
Yeah.
And
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. And obviously, I hope that you can pick up on some of our sarcasm. That's not our full 1 through 25. We will be releasing our first 1 through 25 on Twitter. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. But we thought this would just be a little fun play on it. We like to play with you guys. We like to have fun with it. And we do a little playing. But we do love all those teams. That's a genuine 1 through 25 team of teams we love.
I don't love Michigan.
You don't have to love Michigan, but I love Michigan.
That's a sad state of affairs.
But hey, look, I don't necessarily love Western Kentucky, but you do.
That's wild.
And I love Marshall.
I mean, we all love Marshall.
Who doesn't? You know what? We are Marshall. We'll definitely be dropping our first Coast to Coast media outlet pod preseason poll as well. So we'll let you know when that comes out, and we'll give you our first little initial grading and organizing of that. So we'll make sure you keep you posted on that. But I figured that'd be a fun little play, and shout out John. He kind of put that together for himself, for both of us. And let's move on to baseball. Just talk a little bit about it. We got some things to talk about, little things to bring up. Before we get there, let's shout out our last sponsor of the video, National Road Golf Course. If you're looking for an intermediate golf course, link-style course, no sand traps, wide open, and it's definitely still challenging. The greens are small, and you definitely have to know how to play the course. Check out National Road Golf Course, West Jefferson, Ohio, off of Route 40. They have full driving range, putting and chipping green, and they also have simulators. And when the season's starting to change, starting to get a little colder out, I think we had like 70s most of the week this past week. So
it's been a nice week.
It's been a great week, and you can definitely feel that fall weather coming. So as soon as it starts getting colder, we got the simulators on the inside. So make sure you check out National Road Golf Course off of Route 40 and West Jefferson, Ohio. And I think we should talk baseball.
Let's talk some ball.
Let's talk a little bit baseball. So the World Baseball Classic is coming up.
Yes.
And the USA team's kind of forming, getting together. They have, I believe, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 7 of the 9 fielding spots, including the DH, filled out. I think they're missing shortstop, and I believe they're missing left field, are the final 2. because I think Mike Trout and Bryce played center and right. So the people that have committed to play for Team USA so far at designated hitter, Polar Bear Pete Alonso, center field, Mike Trout, right field, Bryce Harper, Paul Goldschmidt at first base, Trevor Story at second base, Nolan Arenado at third, and then catching and calling everything, JT Realmuto. I love this team so far. I think this team could definitely be really noisy and can, especially if it comes to pitching. Maybe you see Jacob deGrom. Maybe you see like Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, or even you see some young guys, Spencer Strider.
Spencer Rattler.
I guess you could see him. Kyler Murray.
I mean, we'd love to have him on.
We would love to have him. Who would you like to see at shortstop and left field?
Oh shoot. Is Tatis American?
No, he's not American. He's Dominican Republic. He can't even play.
I'm bad at where people are from.
We'll get to why he can't play. I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
A person I think I would love to see at shortstop, just because of his swagger and the player that he is, assuming he's healthy, of course. I think Tim Anderson would be a lot of fun to watch.
Okay.
I think he'd be super fun, assuming he is American. I'm pretty sure he's Team USA. I'll double check that for sure. And or you could also slide in Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman can play shortstop. He played shortstop at LSU, so he definitely has major familiarity with it.
Mm-hmm. And
I think a person that would be a lot of fun to see play left field would be Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker would be a great fit and also could play really well. You need another. I think they have Mike Trout right-handed, Pete Alonso right-handed, Paul Goldschmidt. Is he right-handed batter?
Is he switch? He might be left. I think he's left.
Okay, fine. We'll leave him on for sure. Trevor Story, right-handed. Nolan Arenado, right-handed. JT Realmuto, right-handed. Bryce Harper, left-handed. I think if you add another left-handed bat, mix up the little lineup a little bit, Kyle Tucker, he'd be a great person for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe, who else would be a good outfielder that you would like to see play or potentially be on Team USA?
Team USA. Thinking here.
I mean, you don't have anybody for Cleveland, right?
I can't think so. Castellanos, he's American. I mean,
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, but I need Castellanos. I also need Tom.
Kyle Schwarber could play left field. I know you don't like him. You're an anti-Schwarber guy.
I'm an anti-Schwarber guy. He is an Ohioan though, so
but we could root for that. Maybe Mookie Betts.
Betts.
He's definitely.
Maybe Adam Dunn can play.
Bring back Adam Dunn. That'd be lit.
Yeah.
Maybe see Mookie, but I think it'd be good to get another left-handed bat in there. Throwing Kyle Tucker, maybe another left-handed hitter as well. Castellanos is right-handed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So look out for those guys. And then shortstop, I think Alex Bregman could be a good one. Tim Anderson be obviously a really good shortstop option. Xander Bogaerts, I'm not 1,000% sure if he would be Team American or not. I think he might be actually, and I think he'd be obviously a phenomenal pick. Great defensive shortstop as well.
Mm-hmm.
So look out for Team USA to make some noise here. And pitching staff, none of that's been announced yet that we've been seeing. So
we got some guys.
It'll definitely be a cool World Baseball Classic. You already got a good team. Hopefully we round it out. But keeping on the baseball trend, Fernando Tatis, one of the best shortstops in all of baseball, one of the best young guys in all of baseball, suspended for PED use for quote unquote trying to fix ringworm. I think a lot of people have come out and said, a lot of doctors, the quote, keep that hearsay. Obviously, don't quote me that it's 100% true. Have said that that's not really what that drug would be used for. So I'm not sure why or how he thought it would fix the ringworm. My guess is that he wanted to use steroids so he could heal better and quicker, so he could play sooner. But he gets suspended for 80 games, which means the rest of this year and the first 42 games of the following year. So not only are you going to have to go a full year without Fernando Tatis on your team for the Padres that are trying to win and win now. Not only are you going to do that, but now you're also going to not have him again for the next 42 games of next year. So it's going to be a while before we see him take the field again. What's going on here?
I mean, to be honest,
bad for baseball, right?
Bad for baseball for sure. I mean, I was really looking forward to see what these Padres can do after the trade deadline, and we won't even see it at its full force, and it's kind of upsetting. You don't really know. I mean, if he's telling none of us really know what happened with what he took. But the way all these people coming out about the doctors being like, doesn't really check out, dude. And how his teammates have been reacting to this too.
Yeah.
A lot of his teammates are really not happy with him right now.
Mike Clevenger was very vocal.
Clevenger, Soto said something. There's like 4.
Soto and Machado both were like, look, dude.
And Machado, yeah.
You can't be just doing some stupid shit like this. You got to be much more tapped in, much more focused.
And I believe Musgrove said something too.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty similar quotes. And it's sad to see. Maybe Tatis does have some maturing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think that's the biggest thing that I'm most frustrated with is this guy's supposed to be the face of your franchise, supposed to be one of the pivotal points of your guys' team, and he's not even going to be able to support you through the rest of the year. So that's frustrating.
Did you see the Padres already put out a ticket promo, season ticket promo, and he was left off of it, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, they also did. It was supposed to be Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead night, like this week or something. They scratched that and changed it to Juan Soto City Connect jersey night. So definitely some pissed off Padres upper management. So we'll see. We'll keep that tapped in.
His jersey was on clearance in the store.
I don't think he'll get traded.
No.
I saw some stuff like that potentially happening. Personally, if you trade him and then just keep Juan Soto, that's not like the worst trade-off in the world.
No.
Especially because you'll get a fuck ton of prospects for him as well. It's just getting somebody to take that contract would be a big issue too. So we'll keep that going. But to wrap up some of the baseball talk, Walker Buehler, very, very good young pitcher for the Dodgers. Season-ending injury for his elbow. And then Joey Votto, obviously Reds legend and first base / DH for the Reds this year. Was his wrist?
It was his collarbone.
Collarbone. Okay, so both season-ending surgeries. Are we starting to see this going to be just like the two big fish that are getting popped here for season-ending injuries, or are we going to start seeing some? The baseball season always wear and tear. Mm-hmm. It's never about necessarily who's the best team; it's who's the healthiest team at the end of the year. I feel like. Yeah. I feel like that's how a lot of these things pan out for most of these really good ball clubs and teams making the playoffs and winning the World Series. It's not necessarily, this team's the most skilled. It's who's the healthiest and who's been the healthiest for the longest. So, do we see any more people getting big injuries like this? Hopefully not.
Yeah,
right?
I hope not. But, I'm sure this isn't the end. Yeah. We still got a couple months left. Yeah. I'm sure we'll see another injury or two that's crucial to the season. It sucks that it happens, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Walker Buehler,
young.
Young. He'll have a good. He has an awesome future. It just for this postseason. If you thought the Dodgers,
Michael Brantley, he's also done for the year too.
Yeah, you're right.
Shoulder surgery as well. So
forgot about that. So that that's 3 right there. And then Walker Buehler. If you thought the Dodgers were gonna win the West or win the NL just outright. This kind of brings
definitely in question now.
It's definitely in question now because he was a big part of that rotation, and maybe the Mets and some other teams might be able to compete with them a little more.
Now, out of those 3, who's the bigger loss? Buehler, Votto, or Brantley to their respective team?
That's tough. It's the whole rotation versus position player debate there. I'm gonna go with. I'm going to go with Brantley. I know that's probably what you wanted me to say, but I think Brantley brings more on a day-to-day basis than Buehler brings to the Dodgers rotation because the Dodgers rotation already is nasty. It's just a little less nasty now.
Yeah.
Michael Brantley was a huge part of that Astros lineup, brought a lot of power, and that's
brought a 300 bat right every time, and he's a left-handed hitter. So
and he's good. He's a good contact hitter too. So
I'm not gonna say the Reds losing Joey Votto is like good, but it's not. It's nothing. It definitely helps in the sense that you might lose more games, which is kind of what you kind of want to do at this point anyway. So that might be on a plus side if you had to think of it. I'm actually gonna go opposite of you. I'm gonna say Walker is. He is their most veteran pitcher that I think has played in the biggest games consistently in the playoffs past couple years as well. I think you're putting a lot of pressure on Tony. Goslin, I think. Goslin to not carry that rotation and kind of be the force. And Clayton Kershaw's been very wishy-washy this year. So he's still going to be your guy. Obviously, game 1, if the World Series started tomorrow, I think Kershaw's getting the bump. but Walker was arguably now that ace to start taking over. So I think he'll be a bigger loss because at the end of the day, I think pitching is what wins most World Series versus bats. So I agree with both. Both are going to be tremendous losses for this team, but I like both of those. So before we get to Ryan's 2-minute drill, I'll give you a little bit of an update on what it is. So Ryan, are you ready for the 2-minute drill? Are you getting ready?
I'm getting ready.
You're getting ready? You let me know when you're ready. I mean, we have no graphics today. We like to keep it light. We like to switch it up. But Ryan's 2-minute drill, things that Ryan scours on the internets, on the interwebs. We are tapped in.
Quick hits,
quick responses, storylines that he sees, he thinks are interesting, reads them to us. We give our quick opinion, quick thought on it. So quick hits, quick response. Try and be under 2 minutes. And I hear we have a special number 5 spot. The last 2-minute drill question of the day.
He did reveal this one to us. We'll break the fourth wall.
We'll break the fourth wall. He did reveal us the 5th one. That's going to definitely take us over the 2 minutes because it'll be kind of more of a debate or a discussion. But it is definitely a special one that we won't see very often. So Ryan's giving me the thumbs up. He's ready. So quick hits, quick thoughts, John. Let's try and beat the 2 minutes up until that last one. So Ryan, whenever you are ready.
All right. So, Kroger has put an application to operate sports betting kiosks in stores in Ohio. You gotta love this, right?
Sports betting is coming to Ohio. I'm a huge fan of this.
Oh yeah, and I saw Roosters beat up, so I'll get into this. We might have some Roosters trips coming up.
Oh my God, Rooster live pods maybe?
Live pods, live gambling pods.
Oh, I wish.
Bill Russell's number 6 is set to be retired league-wide. How do we feel about this?
Love it. Greatest champion of all time. First African-American coach in all of North American sports. And he basically was one of the best players this game's ever seen. So I love it.
Yeah, huge NBA player. If they're going to retire Wayne Gretzky's number in the NHL, why not Bill Russell?
Mm-hmm.
All right. LeBron James signs a 2-year extension with the Lakers for $97 million. Is this the right move?
No, this is not the right move. LeBron, you're only getting older. It's definitely better to have flexible cap space to where you can sign bigger and better free agents, and also you trap yourself for a team that might not win.
Yeah, like dude, you make so much in your
everything else
in your branding. Like, why would you take that from the Lakers when you can get more players?
Right.
All right. WNBA playoffs are starting tonight. Who do you like to win it all?
I personally am partial to my good friends of the Chicago Sky. I think they are plus, let me check real quick, plus 210. John, if you want to look at that as well. I think they're defending champs. They have the experience, so I'm going to take Chicago to win it all.
Okay, I'm looking at this list. I'm actually going one with not on this list. I'm going with the UConn Huskies.
They're just going to come into the WNBA and win that.
I think they could win.
They could win. No, Paige Becker's tore ACL. She's out for the season. So.
Well, I'm still sticking with my Huskies.
Yeah, all right, sticking with your Huskies. And then
and we made the time. We didn't make 2 minutes for those 4, so I'm gonna stop it. But one more thing. Wrap up. Top 5 baseball movies of all time.
So
I think we go 5 to 1.
Yeah,
let's go
5 to 1.
Yeah.
We thought of this little thing once because I don't know if you saw last week. Field of Dreams game was played. Mm-hmm. Cubs won 4-2.
4-2.
4-2. Kind of a boring game. Viewership was way down. Mainly because it was the Cubs versus the Reds.
It's also the second time they did it. The first time was
obviously the special time, but it was still two very good teams that were winning their respective divisions. Now it's not.
Just like movies, the sequel is not.
The sequel is not necessarily always as good as the first one, but we were like Field of Dreams. Oh, Field of Dreams. That's a good baseball movie. And then I was like, I think that movie sucks personally. I'm an anti-Field of Dreams guy. I'm also an anti-Sandlot guy. So
okay,
we'll go from there. But we kind of said best 5 baseball movies. So Ryan kind of set that up for us. So we wrote down our thoughts. So John, would you like to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah, I haven't seen Field of Dreams.
Wait, do we want to do honorable mentions first, or do we want to do 5?
Let's do 5, and then we can do our honorable mentions at the end.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5. You just brought this movie up. I am going The Sandlot. Mm-hmm. I do think it's a good movie. It's just pure summer, like playing baseball when you're a kid. Mm-hmm. The dog was so intimidating when you were a kid too. Mm-hmm. The scene with Benny and the Jet in the
the Converses, the shoes, all that good stuff. Yeah.
It's just a good movie. It aged very well.
Yes.
I am a fan of The Sandlot. I have it at 5.
Yes. I don't think Sandlot's a baseball movie. I'll die on that hill. That's another argument. That's another argument for another day. I think it's a coming of age story.
Jesus Christ.
Look, they played baseball like 3 times in it, and most of the main parts of the movie, the most important parts is where they're trying to get the baseball back from a dog. They're not playing baseball.
All right. Well, then I have a problem with your number 1 being a baseball movie.
It's all about baseball.
So is this?
No, fine. Number 5.
Okay, fine. Go on.
One of the funniest movies, one of the most quotable movies in my friend group, and I think, John, you can't hate it, The Benchwarmers. That is my number 5. I think that movie is so funny. You just lost your membership to Video Spot. Dang it. Or the Who Wants to Wrestle, or you're in the book. Like, that movie just got such good one-liners.
That movie's my number 3.
That's your number 3?
Oh, wait, you have a list too?
Yeah, you got your list, right?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, yeah. So what's your number 5?
Yeah, what's your number 5?
So Benchwarmers is my 5. We got The Sandlot is John's 5. Ryan, your number 5.
My number 5 is $1 Million Arm.
$1 Million Arm, great movie.
I don't even know what that was.
Just because I've watched it. I watched it actually not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's
got us.
I forgot.
Yeah, $1 Million Arm.
Yeah, $1 Million Arm. It's about a pitcher.
Yeah, this guy goes like to another country or something like that.
Yeah, it's India. Cricket.
Yeah, he's a cricket player, and he's like, they turn him into like a pitcher.
Yeah, it's great. It's definitely great. But John, number 4.
Number 4, I'm going with the movie 42. The way this movie represents all those old ballparks, they did a great job recreating those. Obviously, the story of Jackie Robinson, all the stuff he had to go through while breaking the color barrier. Mm-hmm. Just a good movie. It's a feel-good movie, and the way
Chadwick Boseman kills it,
and he does a good job as well. All the acting I think is good in that movie. Not much else to say. I just really like how they recreated all these old ballparks. I thought they did a really good job.
Number 4 for me, Hardball. Keanu Reeves, coach of a team. G-Baby dying still wrecks me emotionally to this day. It's definitely one of those, I feel like we have an emotional connection to it. It's about a coach that goes back and coaches in not necessarily the best part of town, but coaches youth baseball, giving back to the community. We're kind of the same thing. John and I have coached a baseball team for like the past 5 years. So we're kind of, I have an emotional connection to that, and that's why it's on my top 4. And it's also just a really good movie. It's a quality film. So, Ryan?
My number 4 is actually Sandlot.
Sandlot, okay. Quality film. Can't go wrong with it. John, your number 3?
My number 3 is the movie Moneyball. It's just a great behind the scenes of how a front office operates. Just a very unique strategy and how they calculated all this. Great acting.
Changed baseball for forever.
Huge big name actors in this movie. Just good movie.
Mm-hmm. My number 3 is Mr. 3000. With my good friend and R.I.P. rest in peace to Bernie Mac. Super funny movie. It's great. Definitely shows like kind of like the player mindset of how some people are all for themselves. But it's just a really, really good film. I love Bernie in it. I love the premise of it, that you have a guy that has 3,000 hits and immediately retires, and they go back and say, oh, you fucked up. You're 3 short hits shy, and just the whole story behind it. It's just a really good movie, and it's hilarious. So I love it. Mr. 3000. Ryan, number 3?
Benchwarmers, like I said.
Great. It's so funny. So funny.
I am 12.
I am 12. Yeah, literally so good. John, number 2. We're getting down to it.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty here. And I'm going number 2. I'm going Ricky Vaughn. I'm going Major League. Now, I watch this movie before every season. It's free on YouTube with ads right now. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. Just a great movie. All time. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, Edwin Diaz, your walk-up song, so awesome. No, fucking Wild Thing. Charlie Sheen coming out of the bullpen.
Throwing straight shed.
Gotta love Major League.
Yes. My number 2 is A League of Their Own. Tom Hanks playing as a retired baseball player and now manager of the women's league that took over while the war was going on. It's got the drama. It's got the funny one-liners. There's no crying in baseball. The whole movie as in itself is just a really, really good film. A League of Their Own, definitely top 5 baseball movie, and arguably maybe even a top 5 sports movie. But I love it. My number 2. Ryan?
Number 2? 42.
42. Great film. Great film. Can't go wrong with it. Can't go wrong with it.
Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace.
R.I.P. R.I.P. We'll see him in Wakanda. Or Black Panther too. No, he'll be in it. He'll be in it.
R.I.P.
Not like maybe, not physically him, but like he'll be like, they'll talk about him.
Well, they'll talk about him.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be in it. He is dead. John, you're number one.
Should we go honorable mention before number
We'll do honorable mention before number one.
I'm going Major League 2. I think it's still a good movie. It picks up where they left off. The intro to the movie is pretty funny. And I believe that is actually where the Wild Thing entrance actually is. That GIF that people use is actually from 2, not 1.
Yes.
I am a fan of Major League 2. I think it has its place.
It definitely has its certain parts, but they didn't bring back Wesley Snipes, so it ruined it for me. But
fair enough.
Honorable mention for me is Major League. For all the reasons you said it. I love it. Love that movie. Great story. Because that still happens in baseball. Teams try to tank, so it's super funny.
Also, Bull Durham. Bull Durham's a good.
Bull Durham, very good film as well.
Mine's Trouble with Curve.
Great film.
Clint Eastwood.
Can't go wrong. And Justin Timberlake, fucking hello. And then John, let's round out the number ones.
All right. You both have brought up this movie. It's The Benchwarmers. The Benchwarmers is an awesome movie. So quotable. I mean, like you said, we quote this movie all the time. It's just an awesome movie.
I think John...
Movie of my childhood.
I think John and I, when we coach baseball, we reference them at least once a game. So
I'm going all the way, me.
And my number one is the greatest sports movie of all time. I will die on this hill. Is Moneyball. It's my favorite movie. I like John with Major League. He watches it before every season. I watch it the eve of opening day. I love everything about it. It is chock full of baseball terminology, baseball insight, baseball thought process, and it has everything to do with baseball. The whole movie's designed and built around building a baseball team with small market teams. And, you know, growing up and loving the small market teams that I have, it definitely goes to show that the appreciation of it and how they did it. And the biggest reason I really love it is it truly did change baseball forever. Mm-hmm. So Moneyball, and the book was great, so the movie was even better. It's got 2 of my favorite actors of all time, plus Philip Seymour Hoffman. R.I.P. for him, but...
Oh, he's dead? Shit.
Oh, dude, he died like 10 years ago.
Shit.
Yeah, so rest in peace, Philip. We miss you. Ryan, your number one. Moneyball, yeah, baby! Yeah, that's my boy! That's my boy in the back! Hell yeah!
I remember when I first watched it, like, it might have been a year after it came out. I don't even know how old I was. Like, when did that movie come out?
Probably like 2012.
It's like 12 or something like that, yeah.
It's like around early 10s.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, I remember just
2011. It's 2011.
But then, I remember I watched it back, like, our freshman or sophomore year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, this movie's lit. And then I found out it was your favorite movie. And I was like, damn, this movie's lit.
I'm telling you, bro. Another underrated movie that I like, and it's corny as hell, is The Final Season. It's got It's got Frodo from the Lord of the Rings. Not Frodo. Who's the guy that goes with? Who are the 2 guys? Elijah Wood and the other guy. If you told me his name, I would know it.
I don't know.
But it's about this. It's based off a true story. It's about a small town in, I think, Nebraska. Ironically, they've won like 19 state championship titles, 12 in a row, and they're a small school of like 300 or something. And they're finally getting closed as a school, and they fire the coach that's won 12 of them, and they bring in the guy that was assisting. It's just a really good, like, heartfelt story. Kind of cringy acting, kind of a cringy storyline. Yeah, I'm sure you can guess how it ends. But it's just one of those ones where it's like a small town team goes and wins their final state championship in their final year. Spoiler alert. Final year, and the school closes. It's an underrated movie, but it's definitely corny. But The Natural, also a really good film, but I didn't like it that much, but that's right.
You want to know one of my least favorite
Bad News
baseball
Bears,
movies?
too. I forgot about that.
I was never a fan of the Bad News Bears.
I like that. Who's that guy, the actor?
Who plays Bad Santa?
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
I've never seen the movie in full, I'll be honest.
There's 2 Bad News
I've
Bears.
probably seen
OG one or
No,
new one? Remake?
The remake.
I heard the remake sucked.
I think they both suck. I don't think they suck. There's neither of them.
I've never seen either one. I don't know.
Isn't he like, it's like a drunk.
Yeah.
He goes to try to coach some little league team.
No, he gets forced in
he's
coaching.
He's a former player, isn't he?
I I vaguely remember. But Bad News Bear, another solid baseball movie. But yeah, The Natural, Trouble with the Curve, all those great movies. But those were our top 5s.
Yeah, you know what movie I hate though?
What?
I believe it's Rookie of the Year. You know that movie where it's like the Cubs fan?
Yeah.
And it's like the little kid that just throws a strike 100 miles from the bleachers. Yeah. It's just like,
yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
And one of my other honorable mentions is Angels in the Outfield. You cannot hate on that movie, and I will stick.
I forgot about that.
Angels in the Outfield, very good. And also Eddie something's $1 Million Cook-Off. I remember seeing that Disney movie, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's playing baseball and cooking and trying to win a TV show. It was the fucking best thing ever. But that wraps up our episode of Coast to Coast Sports. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We will be posting our top 5 and honorable mentions respectively. So make sure you guys vote on those as well. Let us know who's right. I believe I'm going to win. John thinks he's going to win, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And Brian probably thinks he's going to win as well. So mine's the correct one. So make sure you vote me. But make sure you check us out on Spotify. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you check us out on YouTube at Coast to Coast Sports Pod. We appreciate you guys so much for listening. Shout out the sponsors, as always, Impedability and National Road Golf Course. And John, you got anything to say to people before we let him go?
R.I.P. Monte Teo's girlfriend.
Monte Teo's girlfriend, R.I.P. And Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we let him go?
He gets on base.
He gets on base. If I have to point to the kid again, I'm gonna lose it. Moneyball, greatest sports movie of all time. That's all I gotta say.
That's not true.
What's your number 1 sports movie of all time?
The Benchwarmers.
No, I'm just saying sports movie of all time.
Sports movie?
If you say it, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
The Benchwarmers?
No.
I thought you were gonna say Rudy.
No,
that movie fucking sucks.
That's
the same guy that's in the final season, I believe. That's the same dude, whoever that dude is.
I did cry at the end of We Are Marshall. That's fucking.
Marshall's great fucking movie.
Like when the dude
when the black guy dies and they takes it back.
Dude,
oh my god!
Fucking cry.
I was like, about to. I did. I was like,
he wanted to be buried by his old teammate.
He wanted to be by his teammate. Oh, so sad. Ryan, final best sports movie ever before we let him go.
Am I gonna get judged if I say Remember the Titans?
I knew you were gonna. One of you motherfuckers gonna say that. Oh, I was gonna sock one of you.
Or Coach Carter.
Coach Carter.
These are my brothers.
These are my. We'll let it leave on that one. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time. Peace.